The Raven Guard, officially descendants of the 19th Legion, are known throughout the Imperium as the Masters of Shadow. Silent blades in the dark, jump packs on their backs, beaked helms against the dying light. In their own manuals, that translates to precise decapitation strikes, sabotage and surgical clearance. In practice, it means they show up, no one notices, and 5 minutes later someone very important is looking for their head. Their armor is matte black to reflect nothing, except the ever-present dust of Deliverance, which somehow gets into every single hood fold. The chapter liturgy demands zero gloss tolerance. Anyone caught with polished pauldrons has to spend a week writing "I am not an ultramarine" on chalk walls. The Primarch is Corvus Corax, which, fun fact, is also the scientific name for the common raven, the largest songbird in the world. The name comes from Latin and Greek, both meaning raven or crow, because apparently originality died before the Heresy. Like every good Primarch, Corax had a troubled childhood. Legend says he once found a half-burned Terran book, the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe. From that day, the Primarch spoke in half-verses, stood at windows whispering nevermore into the wind, unheard. For on Deliverance, it is the wind itself that screams. Corax's training covered stealth tactics, guerrilla warfare, and the loot, because if you sneak into a palace undetected, you'd better be ready to pass as the entertainment. Before the Heresy, the 19th Legion was the Emperor's scalpel, unspectacular, efficient, and polite enough to turn off the lights after an execution. Their tools of choice: jump packs, lightning claws, bolt pistols, and a whole range of silencers that cost more than a small moon. The iconic beak helms are aerodynamic, shadow-friendly, and blessed with gloss containment right 7B triple matte never polish. Training emphasizes patience, radio silence, and an elegant baseline of emotional darkness, politely referred to as contemplative presence. Recruits pass their aptitude test by sitting in a supply closet for 48 hours. No coughing, no snacking, no poetry recitals. Then came Eastman 5, the Dropsite Massacre, that one battlefield where entire legions shouted "Surprise!" and nobody laughed. The Raven Guard jumped in, hit betrayed head-on, got shot to pieces, jumped again, got shot again, and still didn't give up. Page 1 of their handbook says, "Patience kills louder than plasma." Corax survived, but his legion was broken. Desperate for a fix, he turned to one of the few things worse than betrayal: shortcuts. Magnus the Red knows this pain. Corax experimented with a gene seed, accelerated growth, and birthed the raptors. Faster, stronger, and, well, considerably birdier than human resources had approved. Some grew talons, others feathers. One started hoarding shiny things. The project was terminated Raven Guard style. We will never speak of this again. Stare into the distance meaningfully. After the war, Corax was changed. Officially, he vanished into the warp, seeking atonement, slaying demons in the dark and whispering "nevermore" into their horns before dissolving into poetic mist. Unofficially, and this is of course highly classified, he founded a medieval rock band, the name Corvus Corax. He thought it was safe, too obvious to be me, which is precisely why it worked for 10,000 years. While the Raven Guard whisper on Deliverance, Corax fills entire warp festivals, bagpipes, drums, croaking psalms, echoing across the Imperium. The exact opposite of the chapter's doctrine. Internal reports list it as atonement through increased decibel level. Tour posters read "Nevermore World Tour" featuring special guest Silence. Their homeworld officially consists of Kiavar, an industrial hellscape, and Deliverance, its moon-turned revolution. Their origin story reads like a union anthem. Furnaces, chains, lashes, and then Corax showed up and turned the lights off. This time on the slavers. Since then, Deliverance remains the perfect training ground. Dark shafts, dizzying hates, and zero audience. Favorite spot? Box stacking and vanishing into it. A tribute to Solid Snake. Favorite meal? We eat after the mission. Favorite sound? None. Tactically, their entire philosophy boils down to 3 words. Don't be there. If the enemy raises the alarm, it's already too late. And if they don't, also too late. Their mission reports read like minimalist haiku. Door closed soft, target already gone, raven in night. Entire campaigns end because someone glued the enemy commander's boots to the floor and set his alarm 10 minutes early. That's called the doctrine of the gentle push, the art of making your opponent fall without realizing he was shoved. Their gear is traditional: beak helms, phobos and reaver armor, stealth cloaks that only suggest black, and jump packs that are allegedly silent. Except that one pack that squeaks. It's given to the recruit with the best poker face. Special gadgets, auspex jammers, noise redirection, and the Knight 2.0 projection system. Their plasma weapons rarely rage, because they rarely use them. Too bright. Instead, it's lightning claw to the flank, knife to the record, shadow to the report. The Raven Guard's culture is a refined paradox. Despite their silence, they love a dramatic entrance. Dawn assault? No. Always during a storm, ideally with a lightning flash behind them. A chaplain once suggested being less theatrical. He was never heard from again, which, to be fair, proves nothing. No one's ever heard anyone in this chapter. Their chapels are simple: black stone, 3 candles, and an old Poe book in a glass case. Quote on the wall of the Primarch, "Nevermore," which incidentally were his last words before vanishing. The librarian insists the case is sealed. No one's brave enough to check, not even trace in the infinite. Kai von Schreik, current chapter master, embodies modern Raven Guard philosophy. Quiet, calm, and so soft-spoken that his briefings circulate among troops as ASMR podcasts. Schreik preaches the creed: "In shadow we are silent, until the sky tears open." His brothers have mastered the art of sudden assault. Hours of absolute stillness, followed by an explosion of jet black wings and screaming death. Unofficial rule: posing kills stealth. Anyone who strikes a fulgrim pose mid-drop gets ejected. Literally. The Raven Guard have no shortage of enemies. The traitor Astartes move like walking tanks. The Necrons gleam like mirrors. The Orcs can't whisper to save their lives. And the Tyranids, well, they've clearly never heard of dental restraint. As for the Drukhari, their obsession with leather speaks for itself. But the one thing the Raven Guard truly loathe is spectacle. Anything that dares to wave a banner. If drums and fanfares start blaring, that's the Raven Guard equivalent of Blood Angel spotting an empty wine barrel. Alarm level maximum. Ironically, that's exactly where Corax performs every other night, on the Theresienwiese in Munich. Rumors about the Primarch vary widely. Some say he hunts demons through the warp, counting their blades like musical notes. Others claim he tours the Imperium with a mobile stage, servitor drummers, and a choir of very embarrassed ravens. One inquisitor tried to investigate, got backstage passes, disappeared, and sent a postcard years later: "Best penance of my life." Official dossier, redacted. Unofficial dossier, setlist. Opening track, Nevermore, extended Vox edit, followed by East 15 unplugged. Daily life in the Raven Guard feels like an endless ritual. Mostly 3 variations of Stay Invisible. Sometimes they stay silent for days, calling it the rite of quiet. Sometimes they polish their armor until every hint of shine is gone. That's the rite of blackening. And even the pre-battle routine is ceremonial. Arriving early before everyone else, officially the rite of arrival. Unofficially just stress for whoever forgot to charge their jump pack. Neophyte training usually begins like this. First, learn not to trip over your own shadow. Second, learn to pretend you're not breathing. Third, master the sacred art of barely existing. Anyone caught coughing in the training hall is sent to the paint chamber to make matte black even blacker. Their paint innovations later hit the market as Max Darth and Max Matte by Greenstuff World. Their failures are impressively quiet. Where the Dark Angels have entire archives marked redacted, the Raven Guard's reports just say one word: handled. And when things go wrong, the mission logs sound like a Poe poem on speed. Shadowfell, dagger still, target chill, never will. No one knows what it means, but it sounds dangerous enough to work, and cool enough to get tattooed. Either great art or someone writing field notes very, very fast. Both are acceptable for the chapter. In the armory, nothing is just a weapon. Everything's a statement of disappearance. Bolters have names so quiet they swallow themselves when spoken. Whisper, sigh, threshold. Their most famous tank, named simply Nothing to See. Logistically a nightmare. When the quartermaster yells, "Who borrowed nothing to see?" someone always answers, "No one," and the conversation ends right there. Their grenades don't explode with a bang, but with a polite puff. And the loudest piece of equipment in the chapter isn't a cannon. It's that one jump pack again. Officially compressor type X9, unofficially the squeak. Tradition dictates that every neophyte wears the squeak first. Not because it's useful, but because it teaches the sacred lesson, noise is shame. And yet, for all their silence, the greatest irony remains. Their father might be the loudest man in the 41st millennium. Somewhere on a warp stage, beneath violet flames, a tall figure in black raises his arms and screams into the mic, "Deliverance!" And no one in the audience realizes it's not just the name of the album. When asked if Corax will ever return, the chapter officially says, "when the time is right," unofficially, after the encore. Hidden in the secret appendices of the Codex Corvinus are the verses that sum up their madness. Speak softly, act silently, vanish dramatically. Chapter 1, verse 3. A bagpipe is not a musical instrument, except on Sundays. Uniform appendix. Nevermore means maybe later. Footnote to Poe, barely legible, probably on purpose. And thus the Raven Guard remain what they've always been. Shadows in motion, knives in poetic form, a chapter that avoids the light until it's time to surprise someone very important. When the lights go out somewhere in the Imperium, it's rarely a power failure. More likely a raven's perched on the windowsill, or someone just found a ticket to the Nevermore tour. Conclusion: the Raven Guard, silent, black, efficient, and their Primarch, probably still on tour. Officially atonement, unofficially bass guitar. For the Imperium, that's something to be grateful for. Some wars you win with noise. The best ones you win before anyone realized you were there. Nevermore. Should you wish to hear the echo of Corax's penance through drums and horns, the mortal band Corvus Corax await you in the description below. Thank you for listening.